things we have learned in our Heritage Tourism class for this prelim period. So without further ado, let's get started. What is RA number 10066? Republic Act number 10066, also known as the National Cultural Heritage Act of 2009, is a law in the Philippines that focuses on the protection, preservation, conservation, and promotion of the country's cultural heritage, enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the Philippines. Under the RA number 10066 is the Article 1 that consists of the policies and principles of the Act, which aims to protect, preserve, conserve, and promote the nation's cultural heritage, its property and histories, and the ethnicity of local communities. It also aims to establish and strengthen cultural institutions and protect cultural workers and ensure their professional development and well-being. Article 2 of the National Cultural Heritage Act of 2009 consists of the definition of terms related to heritage tourism, which gives us a better understanding of the topic. We'll now be delving some of the essential terms. First word is the adaptive reuse, which refers to the utilization of the buildings, other built structures, and sites of value for purposes other than that for which they were intended originally in order to conserve the site, their engineering integrity and authenticity of design. Examples of these are old homes that are converted to restaurants like the Circa 1900, which is a colonial house in Cebu that has been converted to a restaurant that's been around a century old already. The next is the anthropological area, refers to any place where studies of specific ethno-linguistic groups are undertaken, the properties of which are of value to our cultural heritage. We could see lots of these in museums, but there are also cultural performances performed in different parts of the country, like Subic.
Antique refers to a cultural property found locally which is 100 years in age, more or less the production of which has ceased. Example of an antique would be an heirloom that is passed down by your great-great-great-grandparents, usually like watches, necklace, or a type of ring. Then built heritage is architectural structures with historical or cultural significance. Cultural property encompasses structures, sites, and artifacts holding cultural and historical value. Then heritage zone is an area housing structures and landmarks aged at least 50 years integral to cultural heritage. National cultural treasure is an item or site recognized with the National Museum as having extraordinary historical, cultural, artistic, and scientific importance. Intangible cultural heritage are traditions, practices, and expressions passed through generations in our country. The simple gestures of pagmamano and using the words like po and opo is an example of intangible cultural heritage. Museum are institutions exhibiting and preserving cultural artifacts and historical items for public education. Restoration is the process of repairing and restoring cultural heritage items or structures at their original state. Tangible cultural property are physical artifacts and structures with cultural significance. Application and impact. RA number 10066 bears substantial implications for preserving the Philippines' cultural heritage. It underscores the significance of upholding historical structures, sites, and traditions, fostering a sense of identity and pride among Filipinos. Through this act, cultural institutions gain the power to safeguard and showcase the nation's rich heritage for both current and future generations. And in conclusion, Republic Act number 10066 stands as a testament to the Philippines' commitment to preserving its cultural heritage. This legislation is not just about preserving the past, it's about ensuring a vibrant and diverse future deeply rooted in the nation's true identity. That would be all for our part. We will now be moving to heritage tourism and preservation.
What is heritage tourism, and what comes to your mind when you hear the word heritage? Inherited from the past or to preserve and pass on to the future generations. A heritage tourism is traveling with the primary purpose of exploring the history and heritage of a place relating to tourist activities occurring within the heritage sector, such as museum, heritage attractions, or heritage sites. So why do we need to preserve? When we preserve something, it not only helps in preserving and safeguarding the resources, but also in revitalizing local economies and it bringing about a sense of identity, pride, and belonging to residents. However, it gives better appreciations of the value of heritage assets, both tangible and intangible, and integrations of such strategies within the larger processes of planning and development of a city or urban area. Heritage assets primarily have social, cultural, and historical significance for the community. These are examples of heritage assets: historical buildings, monuments, architectural sites, wildlife reserves, protected areas, and also works of art. They also include things that are intrinsically valuable in terms of history, art, science, technology, geophysics, or the environment. Natural heritage assets provide crucial habitats to many iconic species, as well as protect rare ecological processes and stunning landscape. While for cultural heritage assets, it helps us understand and explain why we are the way we are. It is the keystone of our culture that plays an important role in our politics, society, business, and worldview. They have an intrinsic value and provide a sneak peek into our ancient heritage. How to preserve heritage tourism. Community empowerment. This occurs when tourists are educated about the history and traditions for the local community. Next, we're going to talk about cultural mapping in reflection on the discussion last meeting about cultural mapping. What is cultural mapping? Cultural mapping has been recognized by UNESCO, or United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. It refers to a wide range of research techniques and tools used to map distinct peoples, tangible and intangible cultural assets within local landscapes around the world. So there is a goal in cultural mapping. The most fundamental goal of cultural mapping is to help communities recognize, celebrate, and support cultural diversity for economic, social, and regional development. After researching elements that make a community unique, cultural mapping involves initiating a range of community activities or projects to record, conserve, and use these elements. How does it work? Cultural mapping works in tangibles. Here are some examples of tangibles, which are galleries, craft industries, distinctive landmarks, local events, and industries.
Cultural mapping works in intangibles like memories, personal histories, attitudes, and values. Why is cultural mapping important? Mapping culture in one way to ensure that cultural heritage management is undertaken by indigenous people. Not only it is important to ensure indigenous people map their own intangible culture for record keeping and education of younger generations and the wider population. It is critical for indigenous communities to have access to training and innovation in mapping technologies to continue to adopt the stories of ancestors to new technologies. That's the end of our video. Thank you for listening.